All right, setting up your meeting for YouTube Live, done. All right, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us as we want to give you guys an update on what is occurring for this year's Grad Bash. My name is Alfred McGuire, and I am joined today by Coach Sharp, who will be serving as our lead chaperone. She is on with us as well, and we're going to go through this. A couple of reminders that I want to make sure I share with our seniors who will be joining us today for this conversation. Seniors, if you have not, your cap and gowns are still available for you to pick up. You can come by the campus and pick up those cap and gowns, so you can still pick those up. Also, seniors, if you have not turned in your community service for this year, please make sure that you do so. You can pick up those community service forms as they are found in the main office. As a reminder, you must have 20 hours of community service before graduation. So please make sure that you do that. And also, for any of you that have any questions about anything that may be taking place as it relates to Grad Bash, of course, you can continue to watch this video, but graduation, senior week, we have another video that was posted on our page, and you can tune in and watch there. Well, with no further ado, I do want to turn this over and we'll allow Coach Sharp to continue on to provide us with these updates for Grad Bash. Coach Sharp?
Thank you, Mr. McGuire. Good afternoon, everybody. For those that haven't officially met me, my name is Coach Sharp. I am the athletic director here at Woodville Tompkins. I've been here for about 3 years now, so most of the time your babies have been here at Woodville. Just another reminder to add on to what Mr. McGuire said, for those that are still coming on campus to pick up their cap and gowns, if you want to swing by my office, I have a printed out copy of the itinerary that was also handed out to other seniors today that were on campus receiving their cap and gowns for this trip, but this will also be sent out to you electronically tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by and see me in the gym when you come and pick up your cap and gown. All right, with that, we're going to go ahead and go straight into our trip overview. This year for Grad Bash, our trip chaperones, as Mr. McGuire said, I'm your lead chaperone for this trip this year. Other chaperones that will be attending is Coach Benyard, Coach Matthews, Coach Miller, Chef Bozier, Coach Robinson, and Coach Pickney. So as you can tell, we have a lot of coaches going, a lot of people with a lot of experience with overnight trips and all of that know and love your kids tremendously. So it's a good group of chaperones that'll be going with us this year. All right, here we have the trip itinerary. Like I said, seniors, when you come on campus, feel free to come by and see me, and I can give you a paper copy of this, as well as, like I said, this PowerPoint and the itinerary will be emailed to everyone attending the trip tomorrow, students and parents included. So as you can tell, as an athletic director, I'm very detail oriented. So we have a very detailed itinerary for you. I'll cover some of the key times on the next slide, but this is just a rundown of everything that's on the handout. It actually is the handout of, as close to possible as the times that we're aiming for. Everywhere we'll be stopping, what we'll be doing at those stops. So you should know where your kids are at, general idea of where they're at all times. Also on there, I included important location information, so you'll know each event site that we will be at, the address and the phone number there. Just for any emergency purposes, you will always have a way to get in touch with us as well. All right, so some of the key times, the big one, I know parents, you're gonna hate me for this one, but we're gonna need your students to arrive at 5 a.m. on Friday, that 25th. That's the day that we're leaving out. We're wanting to get a little bit of an earlier start this year. We will be providing your kids breakfast as they get here. Their bags have to be security checked and all of that, which I'll go in on a later slide as well. We want to leave Woodville by 6 a.m. So that way we can get into Orlando by 11:30. We do stop about halfway on that trip just to let the kids get up, stretch, all of that stuff. We provide them drinks and snacks at that time as well and let them use the restroom. Once we arrive in Atlanta, our goal is to go ahead and go to main event first. When your kids go to main event, this is just for For anybody that's familiar with Dave and Buster's, it's a similar type atmosphere, a place with arcade, bowling alleys, laser tags, all of those different things. When they do arrive here, we will have some food set up for them. So they'll get at least 2 slices of pizza and a drink as well. They are able to purchase additional food if they would like something else, but that will be on them to supply the money for that one. But the pizza, the drink, and then 3 hours of gameplay will be free for your for your children at this event. Once we finish up with those 3 hours, we will load the bus and head over to the hotel, which is about within 30 minutes of main event. Once we get to the hotel, we'll get checked in, get them into their assigned rooms, all of that. Most of the kids submitted who they wanted a room with and whatnot, and so that list is already created. So that way, hopefully, everybody should be good and comfortable. They'll have a couple hours there to get showered, changed. Then we'll head on over to Universal for the main attraction of the event. Be there from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And then once that's done and we get back on the bus, we'll return to the hotel. At that point, it'll be lights out, everybody in their rooms, all of that good stuff. So I'm encouraging kids to bring snacks with them on the trip as well that they want in their hotel room. Because once we get back for the night, even though it's really late and they'll be tired and burnt out, sometimes, they want to DoorDash and stuff at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're not going to allow that to happen. Once they're in their rooms for the night, that is going to be it. So please encourage your kids to pack some snacks that they'd like to have with them. We'll be providing some additional snacks as well at that time. Once we get back, we're not just going to send them back to their rooms without anything. Saturday morning when we get up, we will have breakfast at the hotel. Once we check out from the hotel, we'll get the bus packed up and then we'll head over to Aquatica, which is the water park. Your kids will already be dressed and ready to go for Aquatica. We do tell them to bring a change of clothes on the bus with them and into the water park, and just get one of those lockers to put their stuff in. So that way they can change once we're done with Aquatica at the water park. At that point, we load the bus and we start our trip back to Georgia. We do stop at Buc-ee's, which is on the route back, which most of the kids seem to love. Of course, there as well, they will have to purchase their own items at Buc-ee's. We will not provide anything for that. While they are at Aquatica, they do get a free meal ticket, so that will be provided as well. But and of course, and once again, anything additional they want to buy on top of that, they will need extra spending money for that. Hopefully we'll arrive back to Woodville about 9 o'clock is my goal. So I don't keep y'all up too late on Saturday night, since I know I'm getting y'all up early on Friday morning.
And I do just want to emphasize again the security check. Again, as the students are coming in on Friday, and I know we've talked about that. However, that security check is going to be done by members of the Savannah Metro Police Department who are going to be screening and making sure those bags and everything are safe. This is not just something that we're doing. This is, for the safety and security of everybody that's going to be attending. So everyone that goes to Grad Bash is subject to these checks. But again, we just want to make sure that everybody is safe and everyone has the items that they need to bring. So parents, if you could, just please make sure that as we're checking the bags, that you check the bags also, just to make sure that everything is good inside of those bags.
All right, once again, this is just the locations kind of blown up. The hotel we'll be staying in is the Hampton Inn Orlando at Lake Buena Vista. That address is there and the phone number, as well as for Universal, which, of course, once again, all this will be sent out to you, so don't feel like you need to capture it all right now. We will be sending this out to all students and parents to your email on school file tomorrow. So this is just the first set. And then get the next slide, Mr. McGuire. It's the second set, our main vet in Aquatica. So once again, all this will be sent out to you, so you don't need to worry about writing all this down or capturing it. We'll make sure you guys have a copy of this information as well. All right, so as Mr. McGuire was highlighting, our security checks is our big thing. The morning that we leave, every student's bags will be checked by the SPD police dogs. Once again, these are typically, your narcotic dogs and that come in and search and sniff around to make sure everybody's abiding by the rules, as well as each student leaves the building with their bag to go onto the bus. It's typically Mr. McGuire and myself and probably a couple of the other chaperones we'll be going through all the bags, things that are highlighted in the security checks. Once again, as a school function, no tobacco, drugs, or alcohol are allowed at any time. If you do have a child that needs medication or vitamins, or even just your basic over-the-counter Tylenol, anything like that, they must be in the prescription bottle or the over-the-counter bottle. If it is anything that is in a Ziploc baggie, it will be confiscated. So they need to make sure that it is in the actual bottle that it belongs in and that they don't have anything mixed in, because we do open the bottles to look in them to make sure there's nothing mixed in or anything that shouldn't be there. So please make sure they know that we will be checking on their medication bottles and making sure all that is good. And of course, the typicals, no weapons or weapon-like objects. Some of the big things that we see with the kids are the rat tail cones and the metal picks. Those are not allowed. I know a lot of our young ladies and whatnot on their keys keep pepper sprays or those little mini tasers in that. Those are not allowed as well. Once again, this is a school function, so those things are not allowed. So please make sure you reiterate that to your children, that if they do have those little tasers, the pepper spray, anything like that on their keys, they remove it before they come into the school building or it will be confiscated. All right, so the thing that the trip includes, I know y'all want to know all of this big stuff. What's my money going towards? So your money is covering all hotel fees. Like I said, at main event, they'll get 2 slices of pizza, a drink, and then 3 hours of all you can play activities there. It also includes their tickets for Universal and for Aquatica, as well as the free meal ticket at Aquatica. We do still encourage your kids to bring extra money for any additional items they'd like to purchase at Universal or at Main Event, Aquatica, any extra food, slushies, anything like that. And then any of the snacks or food items they'd like to get when we stop at Buc-ee's on the way back. All right, packing list, just some things for your kids to keep in mind, because once again, we are going to be sending this out to the kids as well. Universal outfit. There are some park guidelines that they provided. It's going to be on the next slide that I'll get into, because there are certain dress code restrictions that the Universal Park has. So as they come down for us to load the bus for Universals, chaperones will actually be conducting outfit checks, and we will send them back to change if they do not meet the guidelines. So they need to make sure they pay attention to that. Of course, the basic nighttime clothes, their bathing suits, covers, water park outfits, towels, anything like that. Appropriate bathing suits only. We need some full coverage on that, preferably. Change of clothes to ride back in after Aquatica, toothbrush, toothpaste, hair products, shower products, hygiene products, all the basic necessities that they need. We are also encouraging that when they go to Universal for their outfits, please encourage them to get some type of sneaker or enclosed shoe. A lot of times kids sometimes like to wear the slides and stuff like that. It's possible they will not allow them on the rides if they have those slides and stuff on. They do permit them to wear them in the park, but it's possible they might lose out on some of the fun if they do wear the slides and that there. But we do, of course, encourage the sides and flip-flops for the water park time frame. Once again, any medications that they have need to be in the prescribed bottles or over-the-counter bottles, and then no weapon-like products again. All right, so this is what is allowed and what is not allowed at Grad Bash. Of course, the basic accessories, all of that stuff is allowed. Any bags or purses, they must be the size of a half sheet of paper, or drawstring bags are allowed. So they need to make sure they keep that in mind. Some of the biggest things that we always have to make sure we're paying attention to is the tank tops, sleeveless tops, anything like that. None of that type of stuff is allowed. If the jeans are too ripped, if they want to wear a full bodysuit, that is not allowed. So they just need to make sure they read these guidelines in detail to make sure they're following this. Because of course, the chaperones, I re-cover it with them before we leave for the trip. So that way, once we do our checks when we get there Friday night, your kids might be forced to change if they are not following these guidelines.
One thing I do want to highlight is if they have like a Woodville Tompkins shirt or Woodville Tompkins sweatshirt, they cannot wear those items. So please make sure that, again, as you're checking what they're wearing, you take note of this area here, that they're not permitted to wear any of those items. Now, the chaperones can wear that, of course. It'll make it easier for them to find us or identify us, but the students cannot wear any of those items. So please make sure you take note of that as well.
All right, so some basic rules and expectations we have. This is pretty standard for a majority of our trips that we have. Of course, we always expect our young adults to maneuver themselves in a mannerable way at all times, cursing, anything like that, being mindful of their dress and that, no sagging, anything like that. Also, when they're exiting the bus for check-in, so for example, when I know we leave extremely early and then when we arrive, we go straight over to main event. Um, we're gonna ask your kids to remove any bonnets or head wraps or anything like that that is not appropriate before we actually enter main event. Once again, please give your kids that heads up because I know a lot of times they're like, I'm tired, I haven't had time to do my edges, all of those things. We'll make sure we wake them up on the bus with at least 30 minutes before we arrive to main event so that way they can, get themselves together as much as they can. As a reminder, once again, this is an alcohol and drug-free trip. This is a school event, so none of these things are allowed at all. Also, girls and boys will not be allowed in the opposite sex's room for any reason. If they do want to co-mingle, that is fine. They just need to give us chaperones a heads up so we can make sure they're in a place where we can keep an eye on them and whatnot. So we make sure everybody behaves accordingly. As well as curfew. Even though the kids are going to be pretty wiped and they're going to be excited to go to bed once we get back from Universal. But just as a reminder, we will invoke that curfew. That once we get back and get everybody their snacks and get them into their rooms, that is it for the night and that no one is permitted to come back out their room until the morning. They will have a message app where if they do have an emergency or anything like that, they can get in touch with us chaperones and we can come to their rooms and help them with anything in that instance. But other than that, we are asking all children to remain in their rooms once we get back at night. And that is it. At the end of the slide, of course, I do have my email address. So please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you have, any concerns you have, anything that you feel as chaperones need to know about your child before we leave for the trip. Anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I'll do my best to get back to you. It is a crazy time of the year, but I'll definitely get back to you as quickly as I can.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Sharp, for providing us with that update. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. Again, for our seniors, if you have not picked up your cap and gowns, you can do so by coming to the main office, and then they can direct you to Mr. Blocker's class on wherever, so you can pick those items up. Also, if you seniors, if you'd like to come by and pick up the paper copies with the itinerary as well as some other information, you can stop by the gym and see Coach Sharp, and we can make sure that information is available to you. Also, finally, if seniors, if you have not submitted your community service, please make sure that you do so. That is a requirement for graduation. So I would hate for you to do all that work inside the classroom and we can't award you your diploma because you have not completed that requirement. So please make sure you take care of that. Again, you can pick up those forms in the main office and submit that to Ms. King, who will process and make sure we have a record of your community service. Thank you so much, guys. Hope that you have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you during our trip to Grad Bash. Have a great day, guys.